Discover the incredible truth unveiled at our family meeting. My mom demanded my $100K inheritance. Jake stood in his garage, tools scattered around him, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders. He could hear the laughter of children echoing in the distance, the community barbecue buzzing with excitement outside. But today his heart raced not with joy but with anxious anticipation. After years of estrangement, his mother, Linda, was coming over. He couldn't shake the feeling that today would change everything or shatter it completely. The house, once filled with warmth, now felt like a haunted shell as the clock ticked closer to the hour. The dread twisted his gut. Memories of his father swept through him. The firm hand on his shoulder, the lessons of hard work and loyalty. Jake had always fought to uphold that vision, dedicated to keeping the family legacy alive. But his mother? She'd chosen a different path. The thought of her coming back into his life made him feel like a tightrope walker, forever teetering between excitement and deep-seated resentment. When Linda finally arrived, the air thickened with unspoken words. Her face, worn and weary, mirrored the nights of grief they'd both silently battled. Jake felt his heart clash with his thoughts. Could they really rebuild after years of distance? Before he could process another moment, she launched into it. "Jake, I need to talk to you about your inheritance." Her voice trembled with desperation. "I need it to pay off my debts." The words crashed into him like a tidal wave, and for a heartbeat time froze. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Did she really believe she could waltz back into his life and demand what he had worked so hard to earn? His stomach twisted, anger boiling beneath the surface. "You can't be serious," he managed, his voice barely above a whisper. The betrayal in his chest felt raw and exposed. The community outside buzzed with laughter, while their world teetered on the edge of chaos. Their home, filled with bittersweet memories, served as a battleground for an unresolved history. "I sacrificed everything for you," she continued, tears glistening in her eyes, revealing hidden layers of her struggle. "You don't understand." As she spoke, Jake saw a woman grappling with her choices, the wreckage of addiction visible in her tear-streaked face. The wave of compassion he'd buried deep within him surged forth. How could he reconcile his father's teachings about duty with his mother's failed choices? Before he could respond, the confrontation reached a boiling point. Just as Jake thought he couldn't bear the weight anymore, she revealed a dark secret that sent shockwaves through the room. "I was lost, Jake. I'm still lost. I didn't abandon you on purpose." Her voice cracked, unraveling the threads of resentment he'd held for years, and that moment, the tension morphed into an unexpected clarity. He was faced with a choice. Could he prioritize his dreams and his father's values over the compassion her pain deserved? Silence enveloped them, heavy and palpable. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As Jake stood on the precipice of forgiveness and judgment, a sudden thunderous knock echoed through the room, shattering the fragile tension. The door swung open, leaving both mother and son frozen, hearts racing, eyes wide. Who could it be? What did it all mean? The door creaked open, revealing a figure that made Jake's heart skip a beat. It was Sarah, his childhood friend, and the girl he had a crush on for years. She stood there, her expression a blend of surprise and concern as she took in the tense atmosphere. Jake's stomach twisted at the sight of her, so starkly contrasting the heavy emotions swirling inside him. "Jake, I came to check on you," she said, her voice laced with warmth and worry. The laughter from outside faded into the background, leaving just the three of them in that charged space. Suddenly, the weight of his mother's words felt even heavier, as if the room shifted with a new dynamic. Linda wiped the tears from her face. Caught off guard by the unexpected visitor, Jake's lips parted, but words escaped him. Did he want to share this moment with Sarah? To expose the family drama that just unfolded? But before he could answer her silent question, his mother cleared her throat, attempting to gather herself. "Hi, Sarah. This is complicated," Linda began, the quiver in her voice betraying her composure. Sarah stepped inside, her eyes darting between mother and son. What's going on? You both look like you've seen a ghost. Jake's heart raced. Mom was just, but he stopped himself, lost between wanting to protect his mother and his instinct to shield Sarah from the chaos. Just what, Jake? Linda's voice cracked again, the vulnerability breaking through her bravado. I'm asking for help. I can't do this alone. Sarah's gaze softened as she turned to Jake, urging him silently to speak up. They had seen each other through high school dramas and heartaches, but this was different. This wasn't just his struggle. It was a family affair, a legacy crumbling in plain view. The lump formed in Jake's throat, but he couldn't swallow it down. She wants my inheritance, he finally said, his voice trembling. After all these years, that's why she's come back. He looked away, feeling the sting behind his eyes. Sarah's brow furrowed, a mix of pity and confusion in her gaze. Jake, you don't have to know, he interrupted, his voice sharper than he intended. I do have to. It's part of everything we've been through. The weight of anger, disappointment, and hurt surged up within him again. It's not just money. It's my father's legacy. It's everything I've worked for. I know, Linda said, her hands trembling as she spoke. But I'm not just asking for money. I'm asking for a chance to make things right. I'm sorry for everything. Jake looked at her, the lines on her face deepening under duress. Was he supposed to trust her again? For a fleeting moment, he remembered the warmth of their family dinners, the holiday laughter, and the laughter that sometimes accompanied his mother's erratic behavior, punctuated by outbursts fueled by her demons. He felt torn, caught in a web of empathy for her struggle and resentment for her past. You can't just expect me to hand over what I've built. The words burst forth raw and unfiltered. Sarah stepped in closer, her voice gentle yet firm. Maybe it can be more than just about that money, Jake. Maybe this is a chance for you both to heal. But was he ready to heal? Did he want to untangle the threads of his childhood from the knot of bitterness? Before he could respond, Linda collapsed into a chair, her body shaking with silent sobs. The sight hit Jake like a lead weight. The air felt electric, thick with sorrow and potential. Sarah placed a comforting hand on Jake's arm, grounding him, but an internal conflict loomed. Could he truly forgive? Would accepting her plea shatter the boundaries he had so carefully erected? Just then, a figure loomed back in the doorway behind Sarah. A large man with a grim expression stepped in, the sunlight casting a shadow across his face. I need to speak to you, Linda, he stated, his voice booming through the fragile silence. Jake felt a chill crawl up his spine. Who was this man? What did he want? His pulse quickened again, dread tightening its grasp. Everything felt like it was spiraling out of control. And in that moment he realized the confrontation had only just begun. The man stood in the doorway, his broad shoulders filling the frame, and Jake's heart hammered wildly in his chest. There was something unnerving about him. The confidence in his stance, the sharpness of his gaze. It was as if he were a storm cloud threatening to burst over their already turbulent moment. Who are you? Jake's voice broke the silence, unsettled and defensive. He clung to Sarah's arm, seeking her strength. The man took a step forward and the tension thickened. I'm here about the estate and Linda, he said, his voice steady but heavy. I think we need to talk. Jake exchanged a glance with Sarah. Her brow was furrowed, and there was an unease in her eyes that mirrored his own. Linda looked up, her face pale, tears still glistening on her cheeks. What do you mean? She stood as if summoned back to reality. Linda, you know what I'm talking about. His tone shifted from authoritative to the kind of familiarity that felt invasive. We've been through this before. Jake's mind raced. What had she been through before? What secrets lay buried just beneath the surface? He felt caught in a dangerous web, questions swirling like leaves in an autumn wind. Who are you? Jake repeated, louder this time, stepping closer to shield his mother. Derek. I was your father's lawyer, the man replied. With that revelation, shock washed over Jake like an icy wave. Your father left instructions, Derek continued, the weight of his words pressing down on them all. It's not just about the money, Linda. Jake felt betrayed, like he was standing on shifting sands. He had seen the wedge that had been driven between him and his mother. This man seemed to be the architect, and the pieces of their fractured family were spilling out of a box that had been locked tight for far too long. Linda looked smaller now, her bravado deflating. I didn't want to involve you, Jake. I thought I could handle it. And just how were you planning to handle it? He shot back, anger pouring from him. By pretending it didn't exist? By running away? Jake, stop. Sarah interjected, her voice rising over their tension. This isn't helping. We need to hear him out. Derek nodded, seeing a moment of opportunity as he glanced at Sarah. Your father will specifies a meeting of the family, a chance to settle everything. There are things you must know. Not just about the estate but about your family's past. Jake looked from his mother to this stranger, the jigsaw pieces of his life slipping further from his grip. What do you mean? What could possibly take precedence over my inheritance? The words dripped with bitterness, but they hung in the air, laden with the heaviness of something unspoken. It's complicated, Derek began, but Jake wasn't ready to hear that phrase again. He was so tired of complications. You need to understand, Jake, your father's decisions were made with intent. Leaving you. This was just a part of it. The room teetered on the brink of chaos. Linda's eyes darted from Derek to Jake, anguish painted on her features. Sarah squeezed Jake's arm tighter, silently urging him to breathe. The air became thick and silence stretched, filling the void where uncertainty pulsed relentlessly. Jake felt the shift in the air. He was standing on the edge of something vast and unfathomable. What are you saying about my father? But the truth, whatever it was, hovered just out of reach, tantalizingly close yet painfully far. It whispered secrets hidden for years, conflicts, regrets, possibly even love. Derek took a step closer, his eyes boring into Jake's. Are you ready to face what's been hidden? In that moment, Jake realized he stood at the crossroads of his life. Would he step forward into that unknown? Or would he turn back to the comfort of the past he knew? As the tension peaked, he could feel the weight of his decision pressing down on him, and he knew that whatever choice he made next would change everything. And with that, he took a deep breath, bracing himself for the incredible truth that lay ahead. Jake stared at Derek, the air between them heavy with anticipation. His heart raced, every beat urging him to either flee or lean into the storm looming before him. Sarah's grip on his arm was steady, grounding him in that chaos. He looked at Linda, her expression a mixture of fear and sorrow, and he felt a pang of empathy. Okay, let us hear it, he said, his voice trembling slightly. The decision hung in the air like a ripe fruit, waiting to drop. What is it you think I need to know? Derek nodded slowly, taking a moment to collect his thoughts. Your father, he had a life before you knew him. He shifted, glancing at Linda, as if gauging her reaction. A life that involved choices, mistakes, consequences. Linda's eyes glistened with unshed tears, and for a brief moment, she looked smaller, more vulnerable than ever. I tried to protect you from the past, Jake. I thought if I shielded you from it, it would stay buried. No. No more hiding, Jake said firmly. Anger and confusion churned within him, but there was an undeniable need to uncover whatever lay beneath this unraveling web of secrets. Tell me what I need to hear. Derek took a deep breath. Your father had a complicated relationship with a woman before your mother. They had a child. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap, sending shockwaves through Jake. He felt an unsettling flutter in his stomach. What do you mean, a child? He struggled to process the information, as if trying to fit a foreign puzzle piece into his life. I have a sibling? Yes, Derek replied steadily. You have a half-brother named Alex. Your father, even in his will, acknowledged him. He wanted you to know the truth, he wanted you to meet him. But that's only part of it. I don't understand, Jake whispered, feeling like he was standing on the edge of a cliff. Why didn't anyone tell me? Why hasn't he been part of my life? Linda stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. I thought keeping everything away would protect you. I didn't think he'd want anything to do with us, and I was so afraid of what it would mean if you found out. What it would mean. Jake's voice rose, shaking with emotion. It feels like you've been living a lie. First, I find out my father had secrets, and now there's a brother? How could I not know? Derek's eyes softened, his expression easing the rawness of Jake's spiraling frustration. Your father's decisions to distance from Alex stemmed from guilt, and a desire to protect both of his families. He thought this would spare you from more heartache. Heartache? Jake repeated, the bitterness spilling out. This doesn't feel like protection. Feels like a betrayal. The tension in the room thickened, the silence hanging heavily as everyone absorbed the impact of Jake's revelation. Linda looked broken, tears spilling over now. Jake, please, she pleaded, reaching toward him. I should have told you. I see that now. I wish I could change things, but I can't. Overwhelmed, Jake stepped back, shaking his head. I need time to think. I can't just breathe, let alone process all this. He turned away, the weight of his mother's pain and Derek's revelation crashing over him in waves. He felt suffocated, tethered to this moment but yearning to escape the turmoil. Jake, Sarah called after him, her voice laced with concern. You don't have to do this alone. Maybe I do, he replied, voice low yet fervent as he stepped out of the room, needing air, needing clarity. He walked toward the front porch, grasping the cool banister, staring into the distance as if searching for an answer in the fading light. Thoughts flurried in his mind, whipping around like a tornado. Could he really confront the possibility of a sibling? A family that had been hidden away? He needed to know, was he truly ready for the truth if it meant unraveling the fabric of everything he thought he knew? But beyond that, there lingered a thought that made his pulse spike with an urgency he couldn't ignore. What did this mean for his relationship with his mother? And could he sever that bond to venture into the unknown pairs of family connections waiting for him? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake felt a blend of fear and excitement surge through him. A part of him craved knowledge, yet the other part feared what this revelation might mean. Do I really want to meet him? The question echoed in his mind, dark and ominous from behind. Derek's voice cut through the void. You have a choice, Jake. You can either embrace this new sunrise or turn your back on a part of yourself you never knew existed. And suddenly Jake knew. The choice wasn't just about him. It was about the family he never had, and the one he desperately wanted to keep. But was he ready to face both? With that burning question hanging in the air, he turned to Derek, his mind racing ahead to the meeting he had never wanted but now felt the pull of destiny toward, one that could alter everything. The truth was beckoning, and he couldn't ignore it any longer. Jake stood on the porch, the world around him fading into shadow. The looming weight of Derek's words pressed heavily on his chest. A half-brother? Alex. The name felt foreign, like a missed connection. A ghost of a relationship he never knew existed. What would Alex be like? Did he look like Jake? Did he share the same laugh, the same quirks? With every passing second, Jake's pulse quickened, filled with a mix of excitement and dread. Jake, you really should talk to him, Sarah said softly, her gentle voice pulling him back to the present. This is a chance to know your family, to discover who you are. He turned to her, searching her eyes for some kind of reassurance. But what if it just complicates everything more? What if he resents me for having a life he never got to share? Then you work through it together, she replied, reaching out to touch his arm. It's not going to be easy, but running away won't change anything. You have to decide what you want. Jake took a deep breath and looked out at the darkening sky. I have to meet him, he finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I need to know. I need to see if there's a part of me in him. His resolve solidified, he stepped down from the porch, the wood creaking under his weight. Was this what his father had wanted? To connect the dots in a family portrait that had been marred by secrets and choices? He couldn't shake the feeling that confronting Alex would be the first step toward understanding the kind of man his father had been. With shaky hands, he pulled out his phone and dialed Derek's number. The line rang once, twice, and as anticipation gnawed at him, Derek finally answered. Jake? Have you made a decision? Derek's voice was calm, steady, and it grounded him. I want to meet Alex, he said, his voice stronger than he felt. Can you help me? Absolutely. I've got his number. I can set it up for you. Jake nodded even though Derek couldn't see him. Thanks, Derek. I guess I'm doing this. Just remember, this is a conversation, not a confrontation. You're two brothers meeting for the first time. There's a chance to build something, not just to uncover the past. After they hung up, Jake felt an odd mixture of relief and terror. He still had so many questions. Would Alex be angry? Would meeting him open a Pandora's box of pain? Ready? Sarah asked, her presence a calming force beside him. I don't even know, he admitted. But I've got to give it a shot. For my father. For myself. They stepped off the porch together, the air crisp and filled with the promise of new beginnings. As they reached her car, Jake's heart raced, thinking of all the possibilities of laughter, shared stories, and an unexpected bond. But there was another knot of fear. What if he didn't like Alex? What if he couldn't accept him as part of his life? Could he truly embrace this newly discovered sibling? This part of the family puzzle he'd been missing? Sometimes the biggest risks lead to the greatest rewards. Sarah's voice was soft as she sensed his hesitation. Don't forget that. Jake took a deep breath, letting her words wash over him like a wave, urging him to leap forward. As he slid into the passenger seat, he realized there was no turning back now. He had taken the first step into the unknown. And as they drove away from the familiar confines of his childhood home, the city lights glimmering in the distance, he couldn't shake the feeling that destiny was just getting started. As they turned the corner, heading towards the cafe where the meeting would take place, Jake couldn't help but wonder. Was this meeting the dawn of a beautiful new chapter or an unraveling of everything he had ever known? The thought gnawed at him, but there was a growing excitement in his chest too. He was about to meet a brother he never knew existed. And whatever was coming next could change everything. The looming question lingered: would this connection heal the fractures within him, or create even deeper divides? Jake exhaled slowly, bracing himself for whatever awaited him. With a heartbeat full of uncertainty and hope, he felt ready to face this new reality, ready to finally understand what it meant to have a brother in the picture, but wondering if he was really prepared for the truth that could emerge. The cafe came into view, a warm glow spilling out like an invitation into the chilly evening air. Jake's stomach twisted with nerves. He glanced at Sarah, her encouraging smile reminding him that he wasn't alone. Deep breaths, Jake, she said, as though sensing his internal turmoil. You've got this. Yeah, right, Jake muttered, his palms sweaty as he clenched them in his lap. What if Alex wasn't who he hoped he would be? He might be angry or resentful, filled with questions that had no easy answers. Or worse, what if they had nothing in common? Just be yourself, Sarah reassured him. That's all you can do. With one final look at his reflection in the car window, messy hair and wide eyes, Jake stepped out into the buzz of the cafe. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and pastries wafted over him, a comforting contrast to the storm brewing in his chest. Sarah trailed behind, giving him the space he needed. He scanned the room, searching for a familiar face amidst the clusters of buzzing conversations. There at a corner table sat Alex. He looked just as Jake imagined, though slightly older. A few years separated them, but the likeness was unmistakable. The same light brown hair, warm hazel eyes, even the shape of his chin. An invisible thread pulled at Jake, connecting them despite the years apart. Are you ready? Sarah whispered, her hand gently nudging his shoulder. Yeah, Jake breathed, heading towards the table where Alex sat, oblivious to the approaching unknown. Jake's footsteps felt heavy, each one echoing like thunder in his ears. What would he say first? How would they even start this conversation? As he reached the table, Alex's eyes flicked up, catching sight of him. For a moment there was silence. Jake? Alex's voice was tentative, searching. Yeah, it's me. An awkward pause followed, a quiet hesitation swirling between them like fog. Then Alex smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. Wow, this is something. Jake nodded, unsure of what else to say. Want to sit? Alex gestured to the empty chair across from him. Sure. Jake eased into the seat, acutely aware of how monumental this moment was. So, how are you? Alex began, glancing down at the table as he fidgeted with his coffee cup. I'm good. Just processing everything, Jake replied. Derek told me you wanted to meet? Alex looked up, his expression shifting slightly, revealing a vulnerability that connected them in that moment. Yeah, I had to. I mean, it's been a lot to learn about you, about us. About Dad, Jake interjected softly, feeling the weight of the topic already heavy in the air. Alex nodded. I can't believe he didn't tell us about each other. Doesn't seem right? Jake's heart raced at the mention of their father. This meeting was supposed to bring them closer, but it was clear they were both carrying the same baggage of hurt and confusion. Do you feel like you know him? Jake asked, a tremor in his voice. Alex studied him for a moment before responding. I thought I did. But knowing I have a brother changes things. I don't know what that means yet. A silence settled between them, thick with unspoken thoughts. Jake felt a spark of determination rising within him. A gust of wind swirled outside, rattling the cafe windows, but internally he was steeling himself. "Can we be honest for real?" Jake suggested, leaning forward. "About everything? Our fathers, our lives, because I'm scared of what we might find out." Alex met his gaze, the walls around him appearing to drop slightly. "Yeah, let us do it. I think we owe it to ourselves." As relief washed over Jake, breaking the tension, he felt the first flicker of hope. "'Kay, let us start then. Let us dive into this." But beneath that hope lingered a whisper of doubt. What if they resurface more questions than answers? As they began to unravel their stories, uncertainty danced at the edges of their conversation. And just as the mood shifted from apprehensive to hopeful, Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket, disrupting the moment. He hesitated, wondering if it was bad news or just a distraction. But he had to know. "Sorry, I just go ahead," Alex said, nodding at him to check the message. Jake pulled out his phone and stared at the screen, heart sinking as he read the text. It wasn't just any message, it was a demand from his mother regarding his inheritance, tying it inexplicably to this new revelation. He looked up at Alex, unsure how to navigate this unexpected twist. "I think this meeting is going to uncover more than I bargained for." With their narratives half told and a storm brewing on the horizon, they both sensed that what lay ahead might change everything. Jake's heart raced as he processed the message on his phone. "I can't believe this," he murmured, glancing at Alex's concerned face. The buzz of the cafe faded, the clinking of cups and soft chatter becoming a distant hum. "What did it say?" Alex asked, leaning forward, urgency sparking in his eyes. This is about money, about my inheritance." Jake's voice shook. "Mom wants me to give up everything, all because we just met." Alex's brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" Jake exhaled, trying to keep his emotions in check. "She says my inheritance is contingent on keeping the family history a secret. She doesn't want anyone knowing about this meeting about you." A heavy silence settled between them. Alex rubbed the back of his neck, clearly processing the weight of what Jake just revealed. "That's wild. Why would she want to hide me?" "Maybe she's scared. Maybe she thinks I'll see you as a threat," Jake replied, unsure if he was defending his mother or just trying to reason with the situation spiraling out of control. "And all this time I thought you were the one who needed to sort through family drama. Turns out we're in the same boat." Jake huffed a humorless laugh. "Yeah, just what I needed. A family situation that involves money and secrets." He could almost feel the anxiety swirling like a storm inside him. This meeting was supposed to be an opportunity to build a bond, to share their lives. Instead, it felt like they were standing on shaky ground, fraught with expectations. "Are you going to tell her you met me?" Alex asked, his voice steady, but the crackle of uncertainty lingered. I don't know." The truth gripped Jake. "If I do, I could lose everything I've worked for. But if I don't, it feels like you're choosing between family, between me and her expectations." Alex's face softened, the initial tension between them slowly dissipating. "But you shouldn't have to choose." Jake nodded slowly, his mind racing. "I wish it weren't like this. I wish it could just be easy." "Nothing about family ever is," Alex replied quietly, a hint of understanding in his voice. They both sat in silence, the weight of their situations pressing down heavier than before. Maybe this is a chance for both of us to redefine what family means," Jake said finally, envisioning a future where he didn't have to hide who he was or who he was becoming. Alex met his gaze, a glimmer of hope mirrored in his eyes, and for a moment the apprehension faded. "We can navigate it together. You could fight for your share or just fight for the truth." Jake felt a flicker of resolve. "You're right. This is about more than just money." For the first time, Jake realized that beneath the confusion and the familial expectations, there was room to forge a bond, something genuine that could shape both their lives. "Let us do it, then," Jake finally said, determination threading through each word. "Let us uncover the truth together." Just as the words hung in the air like a promise, Jake's phone buzzed again. This time he knew it wasn't a random notification. As dread settled in his stomach, he opened the message. His breath caught as he read the following words, a clear warning from his mother. "If you meet him again, don't expect assistance from me." He felt Alex tense across the table, their shared hope now threatened. This just got a lot more complicated," Jake said, searching Alex's eyes for reassurance. Alex leaned closer, as if the mere act of proximity could shield them from the storm gathering overhead. "You're not alone, Jake. Whatever happens next, we'll handle it together." With words that lingered in the air, a new turmoil brewed, transforming the trajectory of their budding relationship. The stakes had risen alarmingly high, and Jake couldn't shake the feeling that unraveling this story would not only test them, but could tear apart everything they once knew about family. "What will it take for us to figure this out?" Jake questioned softly, staring into the depths of the unknown, fear clawing at his heart like a cold wind. With uncertainty looming, both brothers sensed that this was only the beginning of their fight for truth, for identity, and for each other. Little did they know darker truths were waiting just around the corner. The rush of emotions swirled inside Jake like a whirlwind. He stared out the cafe window, watching raindrops race down the glass, mirroring the chaos in his mind. "What are we going to do?" Jake finally murmured, turning back to Alex, who looked just as lost. "We can't let her control us like this, Jake," Alex said firmly. He leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms defiantly. "You have every right to know the truth about your family, but it's also about us. We need to protect what just started." Jake felt a weight settle heavier on his chest. "What if I talk to her about you? Show her how important this is?" Alex shook his head. "Right now she's not thinking clearly. There's a reason she doesn't want me in the picture. Maybe if I confront her she'll understand," Jake insisted, his voice shaky yet resolute. "But what if it puts us both at risk?" Alex retorted. "You've already seen her reaction. What if she cuts you off for good?" Jake's heart sank at the thought. The idea of alienation from his family twisted in him like a knife. "I can't lose everything," he murmured, barely audible. He couldn't imagine a life without the love and support of his mother, even if she was flawed. As Alex sat quietly, taking everything in, a glimmer of hope flickered in his eyes. "Look, Jake, we have to approach this step by step. Maybe we can gather more information first? Track down details about your family history?" Jake nodded slowly, but his mind raced with questions. How do we even start? The uncertainty of such a task felt like climbing a mountain blindfolded. "We could reach out to family members. Perhaps someone knows more," Alex suggested. "If it comes to light that your mom is hiding something, it might change her stance. We need allies." Jake felt a surge of energy at the thought. "Right. There's my Uncle Mark, he always seemed like the black sheep. He may know something." "Then that's our next move," Alex said, his voice rising with excitement. "We could visit him together." "But what if she finds out?" Jake questioned, a wave of apprehension washing over him. "Then we deal with it together." Alex's gaze was steady, a lifeline tugging Jake back from the brink of despair. For the first time since the revelation, Jake felt a sense of stewardship in this shared mission. "You really think we can do this?" he asked, vulnerability breaking through. "Honestly? Yes," Alex replied, his smile contagious. "But we need to be strategic. Let us plan a day and talk to Uncle Mark. We can keep it low-key for now. No need to alert your mom until we know exactly what we're up against." Jake took a deep breath, determination mixing with excitement. "Okay, let us do that." But beneath it all lingered the weight of his mother's threats. As they left the cafe, a storm of emotions inflamed between them, but this time they marched forward with intent. They walked side by side down the damp street, a new alliance growing steadily. Jake's phone buzzed again, causing him to stop dead in his tracks. This time it wasn't from his mom. With a sense of foreboding, he glanced at the screen and saw a name he'd never expected to see. "Who is it?" Alex asked, his face reflecting both concern and curiosity. "It's my dad," Jake breathed, feeling the air whoosh from his lungs. What could he possibly want? The weight of their reunion loomed heavy as recognition hit him. The past had come knocking on their door, and Jake was about to confront even more truths than he bargained for. What does he want now? Jake's voice trembled. "Whatever it is, be ready," Alex said, tightening his grip on Jake's arm as if to steady him for the wave of revelations that was about to crash down. Jake's thumb hovered over the screen, eyes fixed on his father's name pulsing ominously. The last time they spoke had felt like a lifetime ago. Memories flooded back, conversations that ended in raised voices, moments that had left scars deep inside him. Every cell in his body was screaming to ignore the call, to walk away from the connection he was terrified to acknowledge. "Jake?" Alex urged, worry etched into his features. Taking a shaky breath, Jake hit accept, and the sound of his father's voice came through, rough and distant. "Hey kid. I know this isn't the best time, not the best time?" Jake scoffed, trying to quell the torrent of emotions. "When is it ever a good time for you?" His words dripped with sarcasm, the heat of resentment boiling beneath the surface. "I just need to talk. Can we meet?" His father's tone shifted, more serious now. Jake stood frozen. The offer dangled before him like a forbidden fruit. "Why now?" He shot back, battling between curiosity and anger. "What could you possibly want after all this time? Please just trust me. There are things you need to know. It's about your mom." The urgency in his father's voice made Jake's heart race. What could be so urgent that it had to be revealed now, and why was it linked to his mother? "Where?" Alex leaned closer, whispering with a blend of anxiety and concern. "Let us meet at the old diner on Main. It's private. Just you and me," his father offered. Jake glanced at Alex, who nodded as if sensing Jake's struggle. The diner stood as a ghost from his childhood. It was a place of shared milkshakes and laughter, a far cry from the tension that had exploded between them. "Fine. But if you're lying," Jake warned, disbelief twisting in his gut. "I'm not. I swear," his father replied, voice softer. "Just come. I promise it's important." Jake hung up, his heart drumming a frantic tempo. The weight of choice settled on his shoulders. A part of him itched to push the past away, but another part was drawn to the childlike hope that maybe, just maybe, there could be answers. "Are you okay?" Alex's voice cut through the haze of Jake's thoughts. "I don't know." The words escaped before Jake could stop them. "We should go with you," Alex suggested. "If he is hiding something, you don't have to face him alone. We'll find out the truth together." Jake's thoughts raced. Would being accompanied by Alex make it better or worse? Questions bubbled up like soda fizzing out of a shaken can. But what if he lashes out? Fear prickled at Jake. "We won't let that happen," Alex reassured him, determination clear in his eyes. "You're not alone in this." That idea sparked a flicker of something in Jake's chest, courage mixed with a touch of uncertainty. With a heavy nod he replied, "Okay. Let us do it together." As they walked further down Main Street, the clouds overhead began to break, revealing streaks of sun. A small symbol of hope? Or a light drawing them closer to a storm? Jake's thoughts shifted to his mother, her warning still echoing in his mind. If she found out he was meeting his father, uncertainty gnawed at him. "Jake?" Alex's voice interrupted his spiraling thoughts. "Yeah. Whatever happens, we'll get through it." There was an earnestness in his friend's voice, and it wrapped around Jake like a warm blanket. "Thanks, Alex." As they approached the diner, Jake's heart pounded in his chest. The past was about to collide with the present, and he braced for whatever revelations awaited on the other side of those doors. But just before they stepped inside, a sudden thought jolted through his mind. What if the truths his father wanted to share could change everything? What if his mother's past was darker than he imagined? They were on the cusp of something monumental, something that could alter his reality forever. Pushing the door open, he took a deep breath. "Ready?" Alex asked, tension thick in the air. Jake nodded, but the question lingered in his mind. Would this meeting uncover the truth, or lead to an even deeper unraveling of his family secrets? Jake stepped into the diner, and the familiar scent of coffee and pancakes washed over him like a wave of nostalgia. Though the colors were muted and the decor dated, it felt like stepping into a time capsule. A place that held laughter, secrets, and far too many memories of simpler days, now overshadowed by the weight of uncertainty. As they approached the booth in the back, his heart raced, matching the tick-tock of the old clock on the wall. Alex followed closely behind, his presence a silent affirmation that they would face this together. Jake could see his father already seated, his face a mix of weathered lines and guilt, just as Jake remembered. "Jake," his father began, his voice low yet resonating in the space around them. "Thanks for coming." "Let us cut to the chase," Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Why are we here? What do you want to tell me?" His father sighed, a look of deep contemplation washing over his features. "I know it's a lot to ask, but there are things you need to understand about your mother and your brother." The word hung in the air, like a pebble dropped into still water. Alex. Jake glanced over at his brother, whose expression mirrored his own mix of confusion and determination. What does he have to do with this? A small silence followed as his father struggled to find the right words. Your mother has been shielding both of you from truths she thought would protect you, but it was misguided. There is so much more than just the inheritance, Jake. What do you mean? Jake leaned forward, his heart pounding. Derek's gaze shifted, almost hesitant. Your mother had another life before she met me. A life filled with pain and choices that led to more pain. Alex's existence is part of that story. She frightened herself into silence. This isn't just about money. Then, Jake murmured as realization started to seep in. This is about our family's past? Yes, his father nodded, looking straight into Jake's eyes. It's about the sacrifices she made, the mistakes that haunted her. Not everything is black and white. She didn't want you carrying that burden. Anger and empathy warred inside him, and Jake could feel that childhood need for understanding rising to the surface. So you chose to keep your distance and let her carry it alone? He couldn't help it. The words slipped out raw and unfiltered. Trust me, Jake. I did what I thought was best, he replied, voice thick with regret. By lying to me? By allowing secrets to poison everything? Jake's voice shook. I can't believe you thought this was protecting me. Please, Alex interjected, his voice steady. I think we all need to be honest here. Our lives have been built on too many lies. And if we keep ignoring it, we're only setting ourselves up for more heartache. Jake held on to Alex's words like a lifeline. He needed that encouragement now more than ever as he faced his father. If Mom hid Alex from me because she thought it would hurt me, then I need to know how deep this goes. What do you know about him? Derek hesitated, and then with a mixture of remorse and resolve, he began. Your mother was terrified of your reaction to Alex. She feared you'd reject the idea of him as family, and in a twisted way she believed it would protect you both. But he wasn't a mistake, he's your brother. What makes you think I'd reject him? Jake shot back, stubbornness igniting the edges of his words. His father leaned forward, gaze earnest. Because I did. That wasn't fair to either of you, and I regret every second. But the moment I realized she was battling demons of her own, I was too late. By then the damage was done. Jake's gaze flitted to Alex, who sat quietly absorbing each word. We have to break this cycle, Alex said, searching his brother's eyes. It's about more than knowing each other. It's about healing. The air in the diner grew heavy as they all sat in silence, each grappling with the weight of their twisted past and the potential for a shared future. You can't change the past, and neither can I, Jake finally spoke, voice still shaky but filled with a newfound strength. But we can start here. Let us not continue this cycle of ignorance. We all deserve to rebuild. Derek nodded solemnly. It's going to take work. Family isn't just about blood. It's about the connections you build going forward. It won't happen overnight. Then let us begin, Jake said firmly, turning to Alex with a smile. Just promise me one thing. Whatever we discover together, we face it united. I promise, Alex replied, a hint of relief flooding his eyes as a smile crossed his lips for the first time. That small affirmation ignited a flicker of hope in the air, as if a powerful, invisible force was shifting within them. They were no longer just tangled in past regrets. They were aspiring to forge a new path, one that embraced the unknown with strength, courage, and above all family. As they left the diner, Jake's heart felt lighter, the shadows of anxiety and anger slowly dissipating like fog in the morning light. They stepped into the world beyond that booth, stepping into a flurry of possibilities. The future, while uncertain, gleamed just ahead like an open road stretching into the distance, waiting to be explored. And so, dear friends, when you find yourself at the crossroads of truth and family, remember there's always room for growth, redemption, and love. Embrace change and the connections that will carry you forward. Now you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support for the journey we've just shared together. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and comment below your reactions and feelings about the ending. Join our family as we continue to uncover the incredible truths that bring us closer together.